What's up, everybody? Welcome into a jam-packed Super Bowl edition of Pushing the Pile. I'm Mike Renner. He's Kyle Long, but it ain't going to be just us today. We got B-Mac joining the show. We got Puka Nacua joining the show here in just a second. We just saw him. He's next door to us.
That guy's jacked.
We have Victor Cruz joining the show. We maybe have Tristan Wirfs joining the show. Yep. We have a loaded guest lineup for you guys, breaking down some Super Bowl, but also maybe breaking down some look ahead to future Super Bowls
out there
coming up here. How you feeling today, buddy?
I'm feeling good, dude. Day two, usually you hit that wall. They talk about rookie wall. I think it's Radio Row wall. It happens day two. I think Puka's mic'd up, though. Come on in here, dude.
Come on in, buddy.
Sweet. Look at you. You're looking sharp. You got the Pepsi Go Bowling on there. You're looking sharp.
I try.
Okay, you're going to be the X. I'll be the Y. He's
right.
the Z.
Exactly.
Is that
perfect.
how that works?
I mean, normally I'm Z, but I guess you could be Z
well,
this time. I like to switch it up.
You're on a new roster today, Puka. Thanks for joining us. How's your week been?
It's been good. It's been sweet. It's my first time we played the Saints this year, but it's my first time kind of out here, and it's been good. Trying some new food. I had po' boy yesterday, and I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Po' boy.
Fried oyster.
I had a beignet. It's just a funnel cake.
Really? I haven't had one yet.
Don't hate on it too hard. I mean, just a funnel cake. A funnel cake's freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't have to do a different name for it.
Okay?
It's like the whole
New Orleans,
thing.
they got to have their own thing for everything. But we're down here at the Super Bowl. You played against this Eagles and their DBs twice this year. What can you tell us about how to attack these guys, and why are they so difficult to pass on?
I think, man, they're able to play with that front four, and they're able to just rush with four. They'll send an occasional blitz, and man, they have a great secondary with veterans like Darius Slay and who communicate well, and I think they do a good job, and they have some young guys who play well. So I think the way to attack them is just run after catch, and man, you're gonna get some man opportunities when they play some stickier coverage, and you got to win those opportunities because they might not happen very often.
I got to ask you about your teammate Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
When I got into the National Football League, I was lucky enough to go into an offensive line room with a ton of veterans. And they showed me how to go about when we lift weights, why we lift weights, when we meet, we do extra meetings, we do O-line dinners. You guys kind of have that same fraternity in Los Angeles in the receiver room and on the offense as a whole. What was that like for you to have a guy like Cooper show you the ropes and teach you how to be a pro? Not that you didn't know, but he could take you to another level, right?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like, man, I was so blessed to have those interactions with him, and how much of an impact that's made in my career in these first 2 years that I've been in the league and in the Rams organization. From the moment I walked in, he's taken me under his wing and given me the ins and outs that's been a part of this the Rams offense, and to learn how to communicate with the quarterback and the O-lineman and the other guys out there on the field, because it truly takes all 11 to be out there, to go out there and execute a good play. So and then to go to things like what it's like to take notes, write it properly in the meetings, and what it's like to lift, and what it's like to eat properly. I know that was one of the things that we worked on kind of for me last offseason with him, of being like, man, can't eat McDonald's every day. And I was like, all right, I guess I can switch that up.
So one other thing, you mentioned communicating with the offensive line, and I joked with you before the show, you're an honorary offensive lineman, because the simple fan of football doesn't understand that Sean McVay's offense and what you guys do successfully is you win routes, you win one-on-ones, but you go kick people's asses in the run game. How important is that for a receiver to get involved, to get physical, to get nasty?
Yeah, I think it's another thing that I learned from Cooper Kupp. We'd be in the room and we watching the receiver rules are to go fit up on the safety, and I'm like, man, I did my job right there. And he's like, wow, look at this combination right here. We didn't get to the backer, and I'm like, oh, I'm only looking out by the numbers because that's where I play all the time. But we do get inserted in the C gap, and we are a part about rolling back on the backside and sifting D ends and stuff like that. So the all-encompassing of the game of football, you learn how all 11 need to move and what it takes to be on the same page as everybody. Because when there's a lot of big bodies moving in a short area of space, there's very little room for errors. So it makes the game even that more exciting when you're a part of the run game and you're blocking.
What do you get? Do people pump you up when you get to the sideline more after a great block on an explosive run, or maybe moving the chains, an out route, a deep out, or something like that?
I think some of the deep outs. I think as an offensive lineman, I think it's an unpraised part of the game that kind of happens naturally throughout. I mean, the running back gets the glory of that, and that's the exciting part about it, is you're selfless in that moment, and you take, and the team goal is more important. And then when you achieve it, it's that much more exciting. So you kind of never know the result of what's going to happen on a run play, but hey, this is my guy, and and I got to block him right in front of me just so it can happen.
So you mentioned you had to change your eating habits, or you changed your eating habits once you got into the NFL. You famously hate vegetables, though, still.
Yes.
So we're going to ask you to rank the vegetables that you hate the most out of these 5. We have broccoli, carrots, potatoes, onions, tomatoes. Rank the ones you hate from 1 to 5, 1 being the one you hate the most.
Broccoli.
Broccoli 1.
Um,
Hot start.
Most hate. Broccoli.
Yeah. Tomatoes.
Dude, yeah, I don't like tomatoes.
2.
You put ketchup on anything?
I do.
Okay.
That's a different
amount.
Tomatoes is not ketchup. They're not the same.
Onions.
Okay.
Potatoes got to be 5 because I like
not
potatoes.
even
I was like, is that a vegetable actually?
It technically.
What was the other? Oh, carrots. I definitely. Carrots might.
Broccoli, carrots.
Yeah, broccoli, carrots. Yeah, to me.
Okay.
I mean, I guess because I use ketchup, I didn't think about that.
There's a lot
That's
of
like on
salt in
eggs.
there,
Yeah, it's a way different. The organic ketchup's not as good anyway.
We got a helmet here. We got some names. Okay,
yeah.
we're going to ask you to pick a name out of the helmet and tell a story about the guy. Hopefully a good one, but if it's,
Matthew Stafford.
Oof.
Ooh, a
Good
good
name
story.
to start with.
I think there was a game where he took a good shot and he came back in the huddle and he's getting the play and he's kind of like, you got the quarterbacks, they're all leaned over, he's leaning in and he's like, kind of like, you can hear him kind of wincing and wheezing and like if he can catch his breath, like, I don't know, I can't remember if it was against the Eagles and he had ran like for a 15-yard first down.
Guys, that's unbelievable.
And he's in the huddle and he's just like wheezing and then Kyron Williams was like, yeah, like let's go. Like he's like thinking like he's trying to grind through the moment and he's like, no. And I just thought it was so funny because he's still trying to get the play and I'm just dying. I'm like, this is comedy.
People don't think quarterbacks are tough. That dude is so tough.
Yeah, that guy is tough as nails. He's the best out there and he sacrifices his body more than most guys in that position.
For sure. You want to
All
pick
right.
another name out?
Let's take another name.
Another name out?
Yeah, don't look.
Oh, sorry. I know, I threw that other one back in there. Rome Odunze. I remember fall camp of 2020 at the University of Washington. Rome Odunze and is a freshman, and we just came back and we're doing our first like team workouts. Scores a touchdown in the end zone and then instantly throws a backflip, and that was like a whole new world to like our receiver room. I'm like, wow, this like it was like, what in the world did we just see? Like, did he actually just do that? And we're like, all right. Everybody's got to try to learn how to do a backflip like Rome.
Everybody, we're meeting after practice.
Yeah, literally. New receiver drills.
I love that.
All right, who we got next? Uno mas.
Oh, last one?
Uno mas.
Aaron Donald.
Oh, gosh. Don't scare me too.
No, right? I think that one of my favorite things about Aaron Donald is every practice he'd come out and he'd have these like quarter length like cut sweats. That was his practice gear every practice, like no matter what swag. Like, he'd go out and he'd have like these 2 black knee braces on right over the top of on the outside of his sweats, not on the inside.
Like,
so like
an old guy.
Yeah, like the old guy you see at the rec center. Like
Yes.
But it's 6'2", 270-pound pure muscle Aaron Donald wearing it, so you're never going to say anything about it. But that was his practice swag every day.
I love that Donald at the end of his career, he's like, yeah, I just played actually like 260 my whole career.
Yeah.
He was listed at 290. He's like, yeah, I was
gosh.
actually like 260. It's like, dude.
When I got in the league, there was linebackers. I was middle linebackers that were 260, and now he's like the greatest defensive tackle that ever played the game.
That is pretty,
Unbelievable.
He is a different animal.
Rams just announced they're playing a game in Australia, 2026. You excited for that?
I am. I just barely learned that it's going to be quite a long flight, so that means I'm going to get some good movies in, and I'll probably doze off most of the time. But I'm super excited.
We're going to play a quick game.
Toilets flush the other way, by the way.
Do they really?
I guess. That's what I heard.
I've never been to the
Let me
Southern
know.
Hemisphere, but technically-
Now I gotta make sure I pay attention to how the toilet flushes here. Like what? I don't know. What way does it go?
I'm not sure what way is to go up
Well,
here.
I think we
I don't want to go down.
cyclones down there. It goes the other way, bud.
I look away when I'm flushing. All right, we're going to play a little game, though. Are they from Australia? We're going to name some names. You're going to say, are they from Australia or not? All right, first name, Margot Robbie.
Yes.
Yes, she is from Australia. All right, next name, Charlize Theron.
No.
She's not? Correct. Oh, dude, you're all over this one. All right, next one, Stetson Bennett.
No, I know that guy. Georgia.
All right, next one, Kyrie Irving.
What?
No.
Tricky one. He is from Australia.
is?
He was
That's
born
wild.
in Melbourne. You can wonder. I
didn't know that.
You know at home why that's
The
true.
guy flew around the globe. He still thinks
Yes.
it's flat Earth. That's unbelievable.
That's an interesting one for sure.
All right, last one here, Nicole Kidman.
No.
Yes, she is from Australia.
Oh,
It's a tough one.
I was doing so good.
Pass for
Rick from
pass
The
for-
Walking Dead is Australian.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's got a good country
my mom
accent.
used to watch that all the time.
He's got a
man.
fake country accent.
All right, tell us
good, though.
about Pepsi and Go Bowling. What are you doing here with them?
Yeah, Go Bowling and Pepsi tomorrow. We're having a bowling event. I'm going to be out there and some other NFL players, and we're going to have a bowling event. And we're going to try to see who can bowl pretty well. I think I bowl pretty well. I got my own Rams bowling ball.
Okay.
And
what's your high score?
my high score is 280.
Woo!
I say I
do bowl pretty well.
I used to take it pretty serious. I haven't bowled in a little while, so it's gonna I gotta make sure I get there early to get some warm up games in. But yeah, if you go to gobowling.com, you get a free coupon for a free game of bowling too. But it'll be fun. Come out here if you're in New Orleans. Come out here and get a chance to bowl with some of the other guys, and it'll be exciting.
That's
Sweet.
awesome. Well, we love you on the pod
all?
here. I'm terrible. I have a teammate,
I had a
David
200
Montgomery,
once.
that
Yeah.
loves bowling. He's good. You should
Yeah.
have him come.
Oh, sweet.
I had a 200 once. I kind of backed into it, but
Hey, that's hard. That's not easy to do, though.
I have about 200 beers at the bowling. Hey, Puka, thank you so
Different
much
type of
for coming
200.
on, man. We love you on the pod, and it's even better to see you in person.
Sweet, I appreciate
Victor
it.
Cruz comes on the show after this from one wide receiver to another. Coming up next.
Duval. Duval.
That, of course, was Jacksonville Jaguars' new head coach, Liam Cohen. And we have his college roommate on set here, Victor Cruz,
Yeah.
joins the program. What did you tell him after you saw that video?
Oh, man, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best, but I was like, okay, you know what? We can only go up from here.
Right? Yeah.
Swag level can only go north from here.
Was it out of character for him to be a little bit goofy like that?
No, that's him. That's
I like
definitely
that.
him. So it wasn't out of character, but it was just funny. Like, it was just like, it doesn't say anything about who he is or whatever. He's going to have a good time. He's going to have fun. He's going to have those boys ready to play football. And the biggest thing, he's going to have Trevor Lawrence looking like a stud out there, in my opinion. So we'll see.
So in college, was he just like the brilliant guy in the room in terms of X's and O's and the Y's?
100%. He always understood not just what we were running, but why we were running it. And he was able to see different coverages while they were happening in real time. I think that's why I understand. We ran a very pro-style offense in college, and I think that's why I had so much success, because I come from the pro style, then I went into the NFL, and I didn't have to get any adjustments on learning plays and learning a playbook, because we ran similar style plays in college as well.
Yep.
Yeah, we're big fans of Liam Cohen. We've been talking about it in the pod all year. And we're also big fans of your golf content. How did you get into the golf game, and how's your game been?
Oh, man, it's been 4 years in now. I got into during COVID, and I started golfing then. And I remember striping one ball, and I was like, oh, this feels great. I need to do this as much as possible. And then I started to get into, like, the culture of golf and the vibes. And the biggest thing I love about it is that, like, no one's going to crap on you for being a bad player. It's all about, because everyone was you at one point, right? We all suck. So the fact that it's all rooted in having fun, teaching you the best things, everyone giving you their tidbits about how to chip or how to putt or how to do these things. So it's always, it's rooted in that fun. And my daughter's a phenomenal golfer. She's been golfing since she was 6. She's 13 now.
Wow.
And she whoops my butt all over the place. So I have a reason to get better.
So I've got 2 daughters at home. One's turning 3 around the Masters, and then one is turned 1 today.
Oh, wow.
Actually, we did
Congratulations.
the birthday party last week.
Okay,
So,
about to say. Shouldn't you be getting out of here? Like, I don't know.
Like, what's the easiest way to get them into golf? And, like, can you just say, here's a club and a bucket of balls, or do you want to come with me to play?
I think both. I think it's the earlier the better. I think with my daughter, I mean, it wasn't even me. Shout out to our nanny. Shout out to Sylvia back in the day. She got her into it. And I didn't start pulling up till she was around 9. And I was like, what's this golf thing all about? Let me go see what's happening. And I saw her kind of get calm, take some lessons, hit a swing, and she did it all very quiet. And I was like, this is the sport that gets you to be quiet?
Yeah.
We're doing this. We're doing this. But earlier the better. Definitely bring them to the golf course as much as possible, because they'll naturally start to just flow right into the vibe of it.
All right, give me your top 3 bucket list courses that you haven't played yet that you need.
Ooh, okay. Augusta National, of course, like, duh. And then Sage Valley, which is also up there. It's a good one. It's in Atlanta. It's in Georgia as well. And then last but not least, let me think. I'm going to go Oakmont. I think Oakmont's up there in the royalty. They got the PGA joint there this year, so.
We're gonna play a little game with you. We got a helmet with some names in it.
Okay.
You're gonna have to pick a name out.
Okay.
And then tell us a story, your favorite story about the name.
Of whatever name.
They're gonna be names you know. And hopefully names that you have some good stories.
Okay, let's see. Name number 1, CT from the challenge. Okay, my favorite CT story from the challenge, really about a lot of them, that whenever there's the final, at the end of the day, the elimination day, there's only 2 people going and everybody else is just chilling. Well, everybody else is not just chilling, they're actually getting hammered. Everyone's drinking. And CT, I remember him yelling at the top of his lungs, "Go Cruz!" We're in the middle of filming. He goes, "Go Cruz!" and then starts dancing salsa. And I was like, CT, I love it, but you have to be quiet. Like, we're in the middle of trying to do this.
Your dance is a cultural phenomenon.
It's grew a life of its own.
Who's your favorite guy that celebrates now that has like a trademark?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I don't think it's a trademark. Well, I love obviously Justin Jefferson's top of the list, but I love how teams they take it serious. Like, these guys are practicing after practices to figure out what they want to do. They take things from movies and different things.
Yes.
Dodgeball, I saw the one with the White Chicks one was great. So, I love that it's taking on a whole new life form.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick another one. Pick another one? Okay, let's see. Okay, this one is Kyle Long.
That's me.
Okay, that's Kyle. Okay, my favorite story about Kyle, I think I have to be in Chicago. And the biggest thing was just that, Kyle was just the man. Whenever you saw Kyle, he's just chilling at his locker. No one's rocking with him. No one's messing with Kyle. And he went out there and always balled on Sundays. And that was the best thing that I loved about Kyle, is that he was the chillest dude, but when Sundays came around, he was ready to rock and roll.
I loved having him as a teammate because he's such a sweetheart. And you can see it today. And hopefully now that we're both out of league, you love golf, I love golf.
Yeah.
We were talking tennis before the show. Let's continue this.
Absolutely.
A little bit more of this going.
Absolutely.
All right, we've both been partners with Captain Morgan this season.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the great stuff you have going on with the Captain.
Well, man, Captain Morgan's been a phenomenal partner. Everything we do is always top-notch and fun. They know how to have a good time. And one is the Ultimate Fan of the Year award, right? It's being presented tonight at NFL Honors, which is going to be dope. The fans is really what makes the NFL go, right? Us as players, we live our dreams. We go out there and do what we need to do, but the fans really make this thing go. Without the fans, there would be no league, in my opinion. And then on Saturday night, we have Rum Street. We're changing Bourbon Street to Rum Street.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's legal yet or if we got the legal backgrounds on that, but we're making it happen. They're renting out a bar. T-Pain's performing. There's going to be Captain Morgan rum everywhere. We're going to have a really good time. 21 and older, of course. Go to followthecaptain.com for more information on that, or just follow me on the socials. You'll get all the info there as well.
All right, there you have it. Victor Cruz, thanks so much for joining the program.
So much.
No problem at all, man. Good to see you guys. Absolutely.
Welcome back to Pushing the Pile. Mike Renner, Kyle Long, and we got Leger Douzable joining the desk.
Looking sharp, as always.
Yeah, it's kind of showing us up, dude.
I didn't mean to. I mean, it's Thursday.
Big league, though.
It's Thursday. I like that. Yeah, give me on the camera, the one shot. I like that right there.
Thanks
Thanks for being here, Leger.
All right,
of course.
He's looking bold. We thought we'd do some bold predictions
Ooh.
for Super Bowl 59. That's what we call a segue. Kick us off. What do you got, a bold prediction, Super Bowl 59?
So, depending on who you are, you may consider this bold or not. I think it's really bold. And it's for Saquon Barkley to get under 100 rushing yards. And if you look at what Saquon Barkley has done throughout these playoffs, he's averaging over 147 yards on the ground. I believe Vegas has his number right around 127.5. But Steve Spagnuolo in the playoffs, and even during the regular season, 18 straight games without giving up a 100-yard rusher. The last guy to do it, Lamar Jackson in week 1. 18 consecutive playoff games without giving up a 100-yard rusher. I played for Steve Spagnuolo. He is going to take away what you want to do most. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, that's run the ball. So my bold prediction, Saquon Barkley under 100 rushing yards.
I love that. Gap integrity, having an understanding that that's what will make you bleed the most.
For sure.
Saquon Barkley. So take that away. Tie that arm behind their back.
Have to.
Force Jalen Hurts in that offense to beat you through the passing game. Maybe some keepers for Jalen Hurts. And while we're talking about keepers for Jalen Hurts, my bold prediction, I think Patrick Mahomes goes over 28.5 rushing yards. That's what the over-under is.
Yep.
But I think he gets 45 rushing yards
Ooh.
minimum. They don't have a game next week. This is it. Patrick Mahomes had some break. He got 24 days off before the game against the Texans.
Correct.
They went to beat the Bills. He got another 2 weeks there to prepare for the Super Bowl. I think he breaks the backs of the Philadelphia Eagles with his legs. 4 first downs carrying the football for Patrick Mahomes. That's my bold prediction.
I mean, to that point, just go back to the AFC Championship game. How many times on 4th down did he get on the edge and get a first down? He had 2 red zone rushing touchdowns. When the Super Bowl comes around, that's when he's at his best with his mobility, not even with his arm, because when things get hairy, he relies on that to get him out of trouble, whether it's buying time to throw the ball down the football field or actually rushing and picking up pivotal first downs.
Last time these two teams met, Super Bowl, he had 44 rushing yards.
Yep.
Oh, right at
You're
that
right
number.
on it.
Right at that number.
And last week, I guess 2 weeks ago now, was the first time they had a designed run for him all season.
Right.
They do not utilize him in that capacity, but when you're facing this Eagles defense where, like, you kind of got to find your edges where you can find them, I think it's a good call on your part that I do think they'll have that in their game plan at their disposal.
Yeah, it's their version of the tush push.
For sure.
Quick snap under center. So what they did is the play call is explode out of the huddle to whatever it is, gun bunch right, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They explode to the line of scrimmage. As a defensive lineman, what's the first thought that comes through your head when you see us break the huddle?
It's going to be a quick snap.
Quick snap, run under center,
Correct.
probably A gaps, protect the B and A gaps. And what do? They
Get
go
on
out
the
they
edge.
go out the back door with
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. They put the football in his hand, allow him the opportunity to either throw it to Travis or allow 87 to become a lead blocker. We saw that happen. I could see it happen in this Super Bowl.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the few times that we've seen Andy Reid get in his RPO bag. He had RPO galore, especially in the first half of that game. There were so many options where he could either hand the ball off to the running back. You talked about it. He could pull it, throw it to Travis Kelce in the flat. But a lot of times the defensive end would come underneath to take the dive away, and that's why Patrick Mahomes was able to get on the edge. So it'll be interesting to see what Vic Fangio does if Andy Reid throws in that RPO niche into this game plan.
All right, mine, bold prediction. Milton Williams, defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, impending free agent, 2 sacks in this Super Bowl.
That's big.
He has, by PFF grading, top 3 pass rushing grade this year among defensive tackles.
Wow.
He's a guy that this is the last
Beast.
debut for him before he hits free agency, before he gets that big payday, and he's going up against the guard and Mike Caliendo, who should be a mismatch for him. So your face says that you're a little upset by that.
No, what I'm thinking is just
Calling out guard, sorry.
these rushers operate in a, well, I could get paid next week mentality. You know, these rushers.
Oh, for sure.
They're like, oh, this is my payday opportunity.
Turn up.
I can totally see that happening.
Well, it'll be interesting, right? Because for a majority of the season, since Mike Caliendo's been thrown into the starting rotation, Creed Humphreys has kind of slid his direction. But it'll be interesting to see if Vic Fangio walks up Zach Bond to get that 5-0 protection to make sure he has either Jalen Carter or Milton Williams one-on-one with Mike Caliendo. How Mike Caliendo plays will probably go a long way in how the Chiefs potentially win this game.
All right. Those are our bold predictions. We have Orlando Brown Jr., left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals, former Kansas City Chief, join the program right after this. What's up? Welcome back to Pushing the Pile. We have Orlando Brown Jr., left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals, joining the program. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Yes, sir, man. Thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
a fashion icon.
Yeah, thank you.
Give him the spin around. Show him what you wear today. Well, you got a tail.
I got a tail hanging
I
out,
missed the
man.
tail.
I stole this from my dad's closet, man.
Oh, that's
Foxtail,
clean.
these some Levi jeans and a Nike shirt, man. I'm chilling.
Why?
So you used to go up against Chris Jones most days in practice. What's it like to block that guy, and how difficult is a guy who's 6'6", 310? How difficult is he present a challenge to offensive
Man,
linemen?
Chris brings so many different elements to the football field. I mean, just with his natural ability to make you miss. You don't expect that from a guy his size, and how well he is and accurate he is with his hands. He also plays high, so as a taller guy, I'm not really used to that. You know what I mean? That was unique in a sense. You know, I think you can relate to that a little bit. But man, I mean, Chris is, literally, a Hall of Fame talent, man. Such a special player and guy.
You played with 3 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in your career. You've been blessed.
Yeah, I have.
Lamar, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to make you pick between the three who's the best, but we're going to make you pick between the three on these categories.
Oh, man.
Which one is the best dressed of the three?
I got to go with Joe Shiesty, man. Joe Shiesty put it on, man. Joe Shiesty. Yeah,
Thank God he got all those chains back, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, me too.
Okay, best on the aux cord.
Man, I got to go with Lamar on that one, man.
Okay.
I really like Lamar on the aux. Yeah.
So what is Lamar listening? What is he putting on?
Man,
when practice ends.
Believe it or not, it's been he was like the first to kind of introduce me to the Kodak Black wave. Like he kind of had the fire Kodak Black
He's
music.
from that neck of the woods.
He is from Florida, so he was very familiar with it.
Boynton Beach bad boy.
Exactly. Yeah, whatever it is down there, man.
Which one's the funniest of the two?
Funniest. Oh my gosh, I feel like you guys set this up perfectly. I mean, literally, Pat, bro. We've had some experiences, man. Obviously, over the years, just with being at a bachelor party, the Super Bowl playoffs, and just so many moments, man, that we had together, man.
I want to get into their leadership because, again, you have played for three of probably the top four. Some would say maybe the top three quarterbacks in the league. Just explain their different leadership styles, and then maybe one thing that somebody doesn't know about Pat, Joe, and Lamar.
Yeah, they're all, I would tell you, very similar, believe it or not, in terms of their leadership approach. I think what you see with Pat is obviously, man, his experience, Coach Reed, being able to learn under Alex Smith. Joe Burrow comes in right away as a rookie and pretty much the guy from day one.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson, pretty much takes over, I guess, 10 or 11 games after Joe Flacco. So different paths to kind of get where they are, if that makes sense. But, man, I think they all kind of have a great understanding of how to lead from the quarterback position. Being the first guy in the building, the last one to leave, their attention to detail at practice, their work ethic, and most importantly, man, you earn the respect of your teammates in the offseason and through training camp. And so their approach on the day-to-day is so intense. All of them, man, every single day suiting up with these three men, you know what you're going to get out of them, man. So, man, I got a ton of respect for those guys and how they approach it. And then different things about them. As you mentioned, man, Pat's a really funny guy. He's probably, the best dad joke teller probably naturally I've been around, man. Joe Burrow, gosh, I'm trying to think on something I could tell you guys that's good on Joe, man.
He's so secret. He's so under the radar about everything.
He is, and that's why I don't want to. But I would tell you, Joe is one of the most unique individuals with a lot of things he collects, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, I like that.
Yes,
I love that too.
That can go a lot of ways.
Then something special about Lamar, man. Lamar is. He's a man's man. I don't want to share too much on the story, but just the way that his dynamic and his family and the role that he plays, man, is really special.
Okay, so 2-minute drive. The fate of the universe is on the line.
Yep.
You need one quarterback to go in the huddle and get your guys ready for a drive. 15-second little pre-drive speech.
Okay.
Which of those three guys you put in the huddle?
Man. They're all great. I'm going to go with my guy, Joe Shiesty, just because that speech before we beat Denver, I feel like he just kind of let it hang in that situation, if I can say that.
He wouldn't let you ride the Batmobile if you didn't answer.
Exactly. He would not.
Would you fit the Batmobile?
I don't know at the same time if we both can. Maybe one at a time. Right?
All right, last one on those three, and the most important one maybe. Who's the best gift giver of the three at Christmas time?
Bro, I got a katana sword this year, man. I own a lot of stuff. I don't have a katana sword, but
from Japan.
I have from Japan. It came with a whole story. I wish I had the paperwork on me so I could tell you all of it. But this knife was handmade in Japan somewhere, man, through a specific tribe. So
now you're the last samurai.
It's me.
So I got to ask you a question about the guys that I came into the building with in Kansas City with you.
Yep.
Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith.
Oh, yeah.
I love those guys. I know you do too.
Yep.
What are you looking forward to most about this matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles with these guys in mind? Joe Thuney playing left tackle this year. So much to cover there.
I know, man. It's crazy. I actually had the chance to speak to him before Cleveland, which I believe was his first start at left tackle, man. And, I'm so excited for the matchups just because it's a Super Bowl, man. This is what you work for. This is the opportunity that you dream of. And these are dudes that love football and love the process. You know what I mean? So I could only imagine, man, the things that they're thinking about, whatever they've experienced in life, the off-season work. I'm excited for them, man. They're going to have, obviously, their hands full with Jalen Carter, man, some of their other defensive linemen as well, man. But, these dudes are fit for the matchup.
Well, Orlando, we're on the football field.
Yep.
Me and Kyle earlier this year, we actually were looking at some of your film, and it seems like you kind of shortened up your set as far as like your stance.
I did.
Right? You were more elongated when you were in Kansas City.
Yeah,
but
yep.
in Cincinnati. Explain, first of all, show us a demonstration of how you switch it up from the elongated to short, and what went into that decision.
Yeah. So, obviously when you get to the NFL level, it's all about getting better each and every year. That's how you stay here. And so, for me, man, I was doing my evaluation. I'm looking at my film, trying to figure out a way to get an edge on everyone. And I noticed that I wasn't necessarily getting to the spot on guys. And so I would tell you that as a boxer, you're more likely to hit your target when frontal. You know what I mean?
We'll do it right here.
Yeah, more likely to hit your target when you're frontal as opposed to being offset, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So changing my stance gave me the opportunity to get in front of guys by exploding out, get in front of guys, being more frontal, and understanding my relationship between this guy and the quarterback. And so, man, it really helped put me in position to make guys run through me. And so, man, at 350 pounds on
It's hard to do.
on paper.
Just watching you in slow-mo get out of your stance right there.
Yeah.
It brings me back to watching you in St. Joe's in training camp,
Crazy.
watching you every week with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. You are one of the biggest human beings I've ever been around.
Yeah.
And you are literally a dancing bear. It's so much fun to watch you play. And getting technical advantages like that at the beginning of the season, you had your foot further back.
I did.
You brought it in so you'd be able to gain more ground.
Exactly.
And get your feet under you. You want to get to the ball, cover the ball up. I'm saying ball. You cover
of
the
course.
guy up,
Yeah.
be able to strike them. That's awesome. And you're still making progress at this point in your career. Super Bowl champ, all that. Still making progress.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's most important.
All right, we got a little game for you.
All right.
We got names in this helmet. You're gonna have to grab a name out, tell a story about the guy. Hate that we had to make it a Kansas City Chiefs helmet, but you know what it is.
Oh, Mayfield. Okay, I'll give you a good Baker Mayfield story. My car got repossessed in college. Okay.
Wow.
Had a $100 car note. Okay, $100 car note. Hopefully.
They repoed you for $100?
$100 car note.
Goodness gracious.
$1,000. It was a 1999 Toyota 4Runner. Believe it or not, my big self fit in there. But long story short, they repoed my car. I'm looking around the parking lot because I need a ride. Baker's the last guy there, and I'm like, hey, Bake, this is perfect. The guy that repoed my car, they're huge Baker Mayfield fans. I said, I'm gonna call him right now, bro. I bet you if I brought you with me, they'll give me my car back without having to put some money down right now. And he goes, man, if you get them on the phone, they say yes, I'll go. So I say, okay, call them. Bake takes me over there. Bake high five, shakes, autographs. They give me my keys to my car. Man, I paid that guy the following month like $400. So but yes.
That's amazing.
That's a great story.
Yeah, man.
We all feel like Baker Mayfield's the ultimate dude's dude.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Like I never got to play for him,
Yeah.
but he seems like a guy that I would jump at the opportunity to play for.
Always there when you need him.
Yeah.
What do we call it? Foxhole guys? That's the guy you
Foxhole.
Foxhole, yes, absolutely.
And he's bringing a cooler of beer to the which is always fun.
All right, another name.
All right, man, let's see what we got here. Travis Kelce. Wow.
Yeah.
That gets sticky. Let's see here. Best Travis Kelce story, man, that I can tell. Gosh. He's a superstar now, man. I can't.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. It's like, he's like.
You're gonna have Switchies coming at you, say the wrong thing.
I know. That's
Gotta be careful.
I'm trying to watch what I say, man. Gosh, Travis Kelce was the first person to introduce me to roulette in Vegas. So
Yes.
he was the first person. Kyle was actually there.
Yes.
So Travis is the first person to introduce me to the game of roulette. I've always seen it. You always hear black and red. I've never seen anybody play the numbers.
Correct.
Yo!
Playing the number. Yes, that's craps. Hold on. That's craps.
Inside story right there.
Yes.
It sounds like an inside story.
It's really. But Travis is the first to introduce me to roulette, man. So I'll just leave it at that.
Roulette spins. Craps is the table. Big table.
That's when you go, 100 on the yo.
Hard yo.
Yeah.
All right, no boss.
All right, last one here, man. Tyreek Hill. I'm so glad you guys gave me that one. So
Okay.
I'm dying to tell this one on TV. So how much time I got here?
You got some time?
Okay, all right.
Go ahead. You got time.
All right, so I'm holding out during this time. I'm training in Miami during the summer, okay? And this was I believe, right around minicamp, okay? After minicamp maybe had ended or right before. And so Tyreek Hill had a camp for kids in Kansas City at the time. I'm boarding a flight in Miami. This guy taps me on my shoulder. I got my headphones on. I don't look back. He taps me again and goes, hey, man, it's me. And I turn around, it's Tyreek. He's holding his daughter. Okay, so we get in first class. It's me, Tyreek's sister, his mom, and all of his kids in first class. No,
that's dope.
Yeah, no.
That's really dope.
No, I'm not joking. It's just us in first class, okay? Okay, so it's so funny. So whatever, I'm sitting next to one of his boys. The pilot comes out. He says, "Hey, we're not going to be able to take off. You guys, whatever. American Airlines."
Really?
So I know it's crazy. So I'm walking away. Tyreek's son comes up to me. He says, "Hey, my daddy want to talk to you." I'm like, "What's your daddy want?" He says, "Man, I don't know. My daddy want to talk to you." So I go up to Tyreek. I'm like, "What's going on?" He says, "Hey, bro, man, I'm going to get a PJ out of here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. If you want to ride with us, you can." And so I thought he was joking. Anybody know Tyreek, man, he got a little bit of that in him where he joked a little bit. So I didn't know if he was serious. I still bought a ticket to leave and follow
Just in case.
Just in case. But he allowed me to ride on the PJ, man, which is awesome, man. So shout out to Tyreek.
That's a dope story, man.
All right, we're going to do one last game here. We have teams that I'm going to show you, and you're going to pick an
Let you slide
emoji
in the middle here.
that the team elicits from you. So I guess first one I already tipped the hand here. We got the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right.
What emoji are you going with?
There's no diamond emoji on there.
No, yeah, there's no diamond.
Going with the 100.
Camera,
But
yeah.
100, man. But 100. Go
All
get that three-peat.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Man, let me see here.
You can repeat emojis. If
Yeah, I know. Okay, all right, cool.
You going
Yeah, I'm
100 again?
About to
Keep it 100.
I don't think this one's going to
300. You ain't lying. Let's go.
This one ain't a listen to 100. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, man. I wish you guys had the poop emoji, but oh, good, man. They
There
ruined
you
a lot
go.
of Christmases for me as a child. Yeah.
All right, Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh man, you know what's crazy? I actually really like the Raiders, but I'm gonna go like this, man.
You look real good in the Raiders jersey.
Yeah, I don't think so too, but I'm not wearing Raiders. I'm a Bengal for life, man. Here we go.
All right, Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Where it started.
I know, man. I wish I had a heart. I don't have a heart.
Do it like this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, giving out hearts. Hearts in the chat, man.
Heart
Hearts in
it
the
up.
chat.
All right, last one here. Denver Broncos.
Oh man, one of my best friends plays for them, man. So I'm gonna give him the eyes.
Eyes.
What were you guys doing against Buffalo?
Oh, wow.
Dang!
Shots fired.
OB, it's so great to have you on the show, man. We're going to go to break, but we're lucky to see you. I was lucky to play with you, and these guys were lucky to hang out with you.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
All right, we got the MVP draft coming up next. Thanks so much for OBJ coming. Until then. We are drafting MVP candidates for Super Bowl 59 here. We're going to go 4 rounds. We're going to snake it per usual. Lazay's going to start. I'm going to go next. Kyle's going to go after him. Since the year 2000, boys, 16 quarterbacks have won MVP, 5 wide receivers, 2 linebackers, 1 safety, 1 edge. You guys know the safety and the edge? A little trivia?
Since what year you said?
Since 2000.
Von Miller.
Yeah.
Von Miller's the edge.
It's a Tampa Bay safety, Jackson, right?
Dexter Jackson.
Dexter Jackson.
There you go.
I got you, bro.
Big brain.
Hey, man. Historian of the game.
All right. Leger, you're kicking us off. Who you got?
So I went back and forth, and we just had both predictions. I said Saquon was going to go under 100 yards, so I was going to go with him. But I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is going to win the MVP. If you look at the game 2 years ago, he was clearly the best player on the field. Right now, did have that costly fumble, but if he can play clean, I like Jalen Hurts because I like the Eagles to win this game. I like Jalen Hurts to be the MVP.
Okay. That actually, so I'm going to go, so it's Hurts there, you see on the screen, plus 350. He is the 3rd favorite. I'm just going to go chalk. I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's won it every single time the Chiefs have won it.
Facts.
It's obviously their favor to win this game. I'm playing to win here.
I hear
I'm not
that.
following my heart. I'm following my head. And the head says Patrick Mahomes.
Well, you took Patrick, and he's definitely going to win the MVP. But I'll take Saquon because you didn't take Saquon Barkley in the first round. It'd be criminal if I didn't.
Yeah.
No running backs, though. You saw the list.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
No
Saquon's
running backs.
the
Well,
exception.
the
What did we
interesting,
say all year?
thing is Damian Williams should have won it that one year, and Mahomes got it.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
We always talk about the
Names.
exception to the rule. Saquon's the
Names.
I
exception.
hear you.
A name helps. And when your name's
For
Saquon
sure.
and it's cool.
Okay, so
it
I
helps.
went Saquon, and now I'm
You
going to
snake it
go
back.
with somebody from the Philadelphia Eagles who we've talked about ad nauseum at the end of this season, particularly in big situations, big moments. Jalen Carter. I think Jalen
defensive
Carter
player
could take over this football game.
I like that
If you get those advantageous looks, you talked about mugging maybe somebody over the A-gap, forcing the 5-0 call pre-snap, getting all these offensive linemen on an island. Yes, they are all tremendous in conjunction with one another, but let's spread them out. Let's pick them at the hip. Let's get them on different levels. Jalen Carter is a guy who can deliver in this big game, and I think he could be a guy that wins the MVP.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go. Again, names win awards. I'm going to go Travis Kelce.
Yep.
He is the next biggest name after Patrick Mahomes on that team. So if Mahomes doesn't win it and maybe doesn't have a prolific yardage game, but a lot of those yards go to Travis Kelce, I think they'll give him a little career achievement award. Career achievement Super Bowl MVP.
I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. Big game 2 weeks ago in the NFC Championship game. We go back to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, had a 45-yard catch in double coverage where he literally slapped the defender by, went up and got the touchdown and scored. I think he's going to get advantageous coverage because Steve Spagnuolo is going to want to put a lot in the box to slow down Saquon Barkley. So who does that help? A.J. Brown on the outside. Again, you see the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You see what he did in the NFC Championship game 2 weeks ago. I think that rapport with Jalen Hurts, I know a lot of people question it throughout the season. It comes on strong in the biggest moments. So I like A.J. Brown.
Do you think they have Trent McDuffie follow him?
No, so that's the thing. And I'm glad we're talking about this. Honestly, when you see Steve Spagnuolo, he gives you something that you're not expecting. I go back to last year's Super Bowl, and Trent McDuffie didn't follow Brandon Ayuk. You know who he followed? Deebo Samuel. I could see him doing something like that.
Take the easy stuff away, force Jalen to be on time and in rhythm and make the right throw.
No question. So they're going to probably roll coverage to A.J. Brown, but then Trent McDuffie follows Devontae Smith. So I think Spags can do that. The thing is, he hasn't had Trent McDuffie literally follow anybody all year long, and he hasn't put him in the slot, which is his best position. So it'll be interesting. He always gives you something different in the Super Bowl.
He's had them on third downs go find a guy. He did it with George Pickens. He's had them when they have a guy, like a one guy, but the Eagles, they got two guys. So I fully expect them not to do that. You got another pick?
Yeah, I'm going to go Xavier Worthy. I think he's a guy they're going to get the ball to not only in space, but maybe even on some end arounds, right? So he could be a guy. I know Pete, this is his darling for the potential dark horse MVP. I'm going to go Xavier Worthy.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to go, we just talked about Devontae Smith. He's high up on my board, but I'm going to go Zach Bond because he is a guy who makes game-changing plays, a forced fumble machine, a tackle machine. If it's a low-scoring game and it's a defensive battle that decides it, I think Zach Bond very well could get the MVP.
Ooh.
While I was talking about the defensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, it got me thinking about big old number 95, the guy that Orlando Brown was just talking about, Chris Jones. He is a guy that's like Reggie Jackson when it comes to playoff football. He is the Mr. October of the defensive side of the football. In the biggest moments, he makes the biggest plays. It doesn't matter if the slide's coming to him or away from him. He finds a way to win, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 guys. Chris Jones will find his way to the quarterback. And if Trent McDuffie's taking away some of the check down stuff, some of the underneath stuff, got to hold that ball. And Chris Jones is coming. I could totally see him winning the MVP.
All right, you're up again.
Well, you took Xavier Worthy. Nobody picked Trent McDuffie.
No one's picked Trent McDuffie.
What happens if Trent McDuffie gets a pick six? What happens if Trent McDuffie takes Saquon Barkley down a couple times inside the box, makes some big timely tackles? I would love to see Trent McDuffie win the MVP. If it becomes one of those types of games, we're in for a treat on Super Bowl Sunday.
All right, my last one, since my bold prediction was Milton Williams getting 2 sacks, I have to go with Milton Williams.
Love that.
He gets 2 sacks. Very well could be the MVP. That's my MVP pick.
That scares me.
Last and final pick, right? This guy has not been talked about. He's a really good player. Dallas Goedert, the tight end from Philadelphia Eagles. He's a guy that knows how to spot up his zone. He kills you down the seam. He could also make some hay when you talk about some of these linebackers having to cover in space, the Drew Tranquils of the world and Nick Bolton's. Look for Dallas Goedert to potentially have a big game. They haven't really leaned on him that much in the playoffs, but this is the biggest moment. This is one and done. Dallas Goedert could be a sneaky dark horse pick.
All right, there's our MVP draft. Leger, you had Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Dallas Goedert. I had Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Zach Bond, and Milton Williams. Kyle, you had Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Chris Jones, and Trent McDuffie. Let's be real, guys. I'm winning this one. All right, that's the end of our first hour here. We're going to come back in the second hour. Same booth here, and we're going to be breaking down who has the edge at every single position group in this Super Bowl. Coming up right after this. Fine, bless man. Welcome back to Pushing the Pod. We're live here from Radio Row, checking out SpongeBob and Patrick getting after it. Those guys have been dancing all day long. They got more energy than, well, a lot of people here because it's Thursday. Mm-hmm. We're a few days away. Kyle's letting out a big yawn. Get it all out.
You said tired. You said tired. I took a yawn. SpongeBob, man. That's awesome.
That's amazing. We don't have any slime here? Like,
ooh, it's not going to come like above us and just, maybe we will. All right. We're going to go through position group by position group and say who has the edge between the Eagles and the Chiefs prior to this Sunday. Start at the position group that's probably the most obvious, quarterback. I think do we even need a debate?
Yeah, I don't even think it needs to be a debate.
It's the Philadelphia.
We got to talk about it for a minute, though, because with Jalen Hurts and that offensive line, the type of quarterback he is, his physicality, it allows that offense to operate in a different way in the early downs. We had Matt Ryan on the show last week, or earlier this week. Geez, it was earlier this week. And he was talking about, I expect them to throw the ball on first down because of the fact that they can steal that fourth down. It's almost a gimme with the tush-push.
For sure.
This is a Patrick Mahomes one. Patrick Mahomes has...
He wins this category.
It's always important to keep in mind that they do have that cheat code in Philadelphia.
I like that you brought that up when you talk about the O-line and Jalen Hurts because he's going to be part of the run game as well. Let's not forget 2 years ago he led them in rushing with some design quarterback runs and scrambles as well. But clearly this is Patrick Mahomes' category. He's the best quarterback. Some would say if he wins this one, maybe the best quarterback ever.
All right, before we get to the running back position, we're actually going to decide who has the better gumbo over rice or gumbo over potato salad here. We got to come into
really?
I've never done this.
Louisiana fish fries.
So it's a cold gumbo?
This is
so
great.
In New Orleans, apparently, you either eat the gumbo over rice or you eat it over potato salad.
Really?
I can't say I've ever had it over potato salad, so I'm actually looking forward to this.
I'm here to tell you, this gumbo over rice looks unbelievable.
It does look good.
I'm going to dig in right
now. I'm a big
big
potato salad guy, so I'm going to start with that one.
Let me tell you, the gumbo over rice, it's like getting a nice warm hug from your mom after a loss in middle school football or something like that.
This gumbo's
Get
really
this
good.
Gumbo over rice, you just feel good.
My mom wasn't hugging me. She was telling me to man up and do better next time.
This gumbo's really good.
You know what? I like the gumbo over rice. It's time to try the gumbo over potato salad.
Yeah, this is interesting. I've never even heard of
it. Potato salad.
I didn't know this was even
I think that's a good combo.
Okay. The Irish.
Mike, you might not be lying. That's an interesting combo. I've never had that before.
Good flavor profile.
Louisiana fish
This is a really good flavor.
They brought the crawfish yesterday. I was like, I didn't think you could top that. This might even be better. I'm not even.
Yeah, they, as they would say in the South, they put their foot in this one.
They put their foot in. Somebody told me that yesterday. I was like, why'd they put their foot in it? They were like, they didn't really put their foot in it. It just means they cooked their asses off.
Correct.
All right, so what's the desk consensus? Are we going gumbo over rice?
I'm going potato salad, surprisingly.
I'm thinking potato salad.
Wow.
This is so fantastic. If this is the stuff that's in here right now,
I need to
gives me all these flavors. I want 1 million bags of this.
We need that
Louisiana
ship.
fish fry products. Fantastic.
We need this ship to HQ for sure.
100%. 100%. I'm going to go with the standard gumbo over rice.
Oh, he's going gumbo over rice.
Although this is a good alternative.
Each their own.
Gumbo
It's a debate.
over potato salad.
One position where there's probably not going to be a debate also is running back between these two teams. I think we can safely say that the guy who went over 2,000 yards is the guy we're going to take. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, let's go to one that is maybe a little closer, but still not close in my opinion. Wide receiver position. Where are we going for this one?
I don't think this one's close either. You got literally two perennial Pro Bowlers on one side for the Philadelphia Eagles. When you talk about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, this a.k.a. the Slim Reaper, right? A lot of people forget about him because A.J. Brown's on that team. But he's probably their most consistent receiver. And when you're talking about Jalen Hurts going to that guy in clutch moments, I don't think this one's particularly close.
Yeah, Philadelphia is the one that's going to get my vote here.
All right, the first time I think we'll actually maybe have some disagreement. Tight end position here. Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Goedert or Kansas City Chiefs and Travis Kelce.
But it's the totality of the position group, right?
Noah Gray, too. Grant Calcaterra on the other side.
Correct.
You got the Eagles use a lot of two tight ends, too.
They do.
So
I don't care how many tight ends the Eagles have. Travis Kelce in the Super Bowl in the playoffs, in the big game, is who you want on your team. That's who I want to break the huddle with. It's my why. It's number 87, Travis Kelce, one of the best to ever do it at his position.
I'm with you there 100%. I think actually Noah Gray adding him into that scenario too kind of gives them the edge as well. Mike talked about it, not just the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Kansas City Chiefs like to live in 12 personnel as well. And Patrick Mahomes has a real rapport with Noah Gray, and that's why I actually think he could be a dark horse to have a good game in this game. When you talk about what Travis Kelce has done, you see it right there in Super Bowls and then also throughout his playoff career. He's going to get a lot of attention. That could free some things up for Noah Gray. We've seen these two linebackers really struggle in space at times, especially on out routes. Could Noah Gray potentially have a big game? I think Kansas City wins this one as well.
From the very first day that Noah Gray showed up off of Duke's campus at Kansas City's training camp, he was the first guy in the building.
Really?
He was the last guy out. He was the guy that was standing up to his neck in the ice tub, and he had 2 books with him. He had the Bible, and he had the playbook. And I always respected the way that he went about his business. He's a guy that learned from Travis Kelce from day one. And when times are tough for Travis, whether physically or schematically the defense is trying to do to him something that's not good for the Chiefs,
correct,
Noah Gray is the guy that Patrick can look to. So I really like that tight end room a lot.
I'll say if it was week 8, I would have said Eagles, but it's a Super Bowl, and I'll say the Chiefs.
Yeah, there you go.
That and Travis Kelce. All right, interior offensive line. Where are we going?
So me and Kyle were just talking about this. For this exercise, Mike, do we have to assume that Tooney is playing left tackle?
He's left tackle.
Well, if he's playing left tackle, it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
But if Tooney was pinched in at the guard position, it wouldn't even be close, right? Because literally, that might be that's the best interior 3 in all of football for the Kansas City Chiefs. But because Tooney has moved out the left tackle, and you got Mike Caliendo in at left guard, I would have to give the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. One, just because of size. Right? These are some massive human beings. We talk about Landon Dickerson, Mekhi Becton. Cam Jurgens not as big, but those 2 guards are massive. It's hard to get around them, Kyle.
You know what? I watched the movie Jaws when I was a kid, and I remember when they first saw the great white shark, the captain looked at his second in command, and he said, "We're going to need a bigger boat." When you line up against the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, you just need a bigger boat.
Facts.
And they just have bigger dudes. And sometimes
do.
I have some concerns about the size, the size of the butts on that defensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs. We know about Chris Jones, but then we got to keep in mind Sean Wharton's going to be in there sitting on double teams. Landon Dickerson's about 450 pounds. I saw him walking around the other day. He's built like an absolute refrigerator. Mekhi Becton, same thing at right guard.
Goodness gracious.
The center Jurgens can get out in space and move around. There's a lot to look at there. I like the Philadelphia interior offensive line.
You need that Shad Khan yacht to hold up to the...
That's quite an impressive yacht there.
That's an understatement of what that is.
All right, let's go to offensive tackle position.
I don't think this one's close.
Next.
I was about to say, it's been well documented the issues the Kansas City Chiefs have had at tackle. Matter of fact, they had to move their all-pro guard to tackle because they've been struggling. Lane Johnson is one of the best, if not the best tackle in all of football. And Jordan Mailata is a perennial Pro Bowler and all-pro too as well. So this category is not even close.
Yep, and with the strengths that they have at the guard position, it allows for those tackles to go out there and just do their thing. They're going to try to probably win inside with help, 4 hands on Chris Jones. They're going to be on an island, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, but I fully expect them to handle their business.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Philadelphia Eagles tackle room.
Yeah, they are the best tackle duo in football. We're the best tackle duo in football. Kind of hard to compete with that. Chiefs, obviously, they've had their struggles, but with Tooney at tackle, at least respectable at this point. All right, so to recap the offensive side of the football here before we go to break and get to the defense side of the football in the next block. Quarterback going to the Chiefs. Running back, wide receiver going to the Eagles, tight end to the Chiefs, interior offensive line, and tackles going the Eagles' way. A little bit of a stalemate there. I think defensively, we're going to have to decide it right after this.
This gumbo is hitting, though.
Woo!
They put their foot in it.
All right, we did offense in the first block, going through position group by position group, saying who has the edge on Sunday. Let's go to defense. Now let's kick it off with the interior defensive line. Leger, who we got?
So Chris Jones is the equalizer.
Yeah.
But I think the totality of the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, Jalen Carter, literally, I think him and Chris Jones, for how they've played this year, kind of X each other out. But the guy that Mike has talked about has played really well this year, Milton Williams. And we're not even talking about Jordan Davis and what he does in the run game. So I think the edge has to go to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, they can attack you in so many ways. Right there, front and center of that offensive line, they're going to be under fire, under attack, and you can never make the right decision. You talked about some of the things that Vic Fangio is going to do to allow for advantageous matchups, leverage issues for these offensive linemen from the Kansas City Chiefs. And, yeah, it's going to be tough to sleep the night before the Super Bowl for a guy like me who's going to be all eyes on that Kansas City offensive line. I got to give it to the Philadelphia Eagles, though. They have real winners on both sides of the center.
Yeah, and Jordan Davis, obviously, Milton Williams, Jalen Carter. But Jordan Davis, he's another guy where, like, if he wants to turn it on, we saw that sack he had.
I was about to say, the last couple playoff games, he's turned it up.
Yeah, so if he's ready and willing, that guy can still do some freaky things. All right, let's get to the edge rushing position. Chiefs or Eagles, who we got?
I'm going with the Eagles again. I think the emergence of Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat is Mr. Steady Eddie on the outside, Chop Club King. And then BG could be coming back. Brandon Graham, right? And we've seen his history in Super Bowls. We saw him take Tom Brady down with a sack fumble, essentially win the game for the Philadelphia Eagles a few years ago. I believe that was 2017. So I give the slight edge to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping on the guys in Kansas City, though. If you're talking about George Karlaftis, you're talking about Mike Danna, you're talking about a number of guys. Charles Omenihu, a number of guys who can get home to the quarterback. But at the end of the day, you have to weigh into the equation how talented the edges are protected by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So that kind of mitigates anything you got going there for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll give it to the Philadelphia Eagles here. And if they do happen to get BG, man, oh man.
That's big.
You know he's got some fresh legs right now.
Yeah.
He's been
gone, for about 10 weeks?
Yep, he's been hanging out. He needed the break. He's an old head now. He needs the break.
Yeah, I concur. I think Philadelphia Eagles, just depth, top-end talent, I think they take it. All right, linebacker position. I think this one gets to be a debate here.
This is a debate here. I went back and forth. I think if Nakobe Dean was healthy, I would give the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think the totality, and people haven't talked about this guy enough, he was a hero in the Super Bowl last year, Leo Chanel. He'll probably play a significantly bigger role because the Philadelphia Eagles like to come out in 12 personnel, 1 back and 2 tight ends. So Steve Spagnuolo is going to match that up. Love what Drew Tranquill does in the run game. And Nick Bolton is one of the most unheralded, underrated linebackers in all of football. Just talking to players and the respect they give Nick Bolton for the speed at which he plays the game, I'm going to give the edge to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Another guy who, on arrival, rookie year, was an absolute dude, a dog, somebody that fit into Spag's defense. That's Nick Bolton. He's the guy that really runs the show there on the second level of the defense. I love Drew Tranquill's ability to attack the gaps. He can hit downhill. He's a great tackler. Leo Chanel is that guy who, from a physical standpoint, is not mismatched by anybody. Saquon's not running over Leo. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be in the right spot. They've got 3 guys who can do 3 different sets of things on the second level for the Kansas City defense. I expect for them to be in base a number of times more this week because of some of the formations they're going to line up with Philadelphia. I love that group in Kansas City. And you're right, Nakobe Dean being out, that may be the thing that tips the scale to Kansas City. Yeah, 100% agree. Zach Bond, he's the best linebacker in this game, but it is a core. And the Chiefs have a very well put together Mike Wilsam, like guys who are perfectly tailored for their jobs with Nick Bolton in the middle. Drew Tranquill is that weak side guy, and then Leo Chanel being able to just be that strong side, take on blocks, rush the passer as well. So like the totality of it, I think, goes the Chiefs' way. All right, last position group, secondary.
So I was going to ask you guys, I don't know how much time we got. Can we break this up and do corners?
Corner and safety? Let's do it. We got time.
So corners, Trent McDuffie, again, is one of the best slot corners in all of football. Unfortunately for him, because they've been banged up on the outside, he hasn't been able to get in the slot. You got to go with the young gunners, though, right? Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and Darius Big Play Slay has played really well the last couple of weeks. And you can even throw Isaiah Rodgers in. Like, he's their 4th corner. So the totality of the group, to me, is stronger for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, and I'm in total agreement with you. And what Vic Fangio is asking that defense to do on the back end, they're not out there gambling a lot. They're just playing sound, technical football. They work together well. They communicate well. Obviously, they communicate well because they brought these young guys up to speed. It's a great blend of old and young in the back end for the Philadelphia Eagles. I like them as well.
Yeah, I have to agree. The Eagles, to do what they're doing with 2 rookie corners is unbelievable. Everyone said on draft day that those guys were steals. Yeah, they look like steals. All right, let's get to the safety position then, Leger.
So this is why I wanted to break this up, because I think this is an interesting conversation, right? Because I love Reed Blankenship. Also, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is one of the best ball hawking safeties. But I'm going to get the edge to Kansas City, and it's because of their 3 safety look. With Jaden Hicks, the rookie coming in from Washington State, and then you talk about what Justin Reed does for this team.
Beast.
Not only does he play middle field safety, he plays in the box. He plays dime linebacker for them as well. And then Brian Cook as well, who's a physical downhill guy in the run game. So I'm going to give the slight edge to the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think the versatility of Justin Reed and then also them in those 3 safety looks gives them the edge.
Yeah, who do I trust more? It's Justin Reed's group. He's probably the smartest guy on the football
That's what
field.
everybody says,
Back
man.
there at the third level of the defense. He's a great teammate. He's physical. He does everything that his coach asks of him, run and pass. And he's kind of that conductor on the back end to get everybody in the right spot and communicate the right way. I look for them to have a big-time day, that third level of defense. If you get a tip or an overthrow, you got to make Jalen pay, though. You can't have those things bobble and hit the ground.
Yep.
No argument for me there on the Kansas City Chiefs. The last one here. We've gone through every positional group. Now we're going to do coaching staff. Which staff are you taking? This one feels like
this one's pretty easy too. I think
not much of a debate.
The only thing is Vic Fangio, in regards to what he's been able to do over his totality of his career and how he was able to flip this Philadelphia Eagles defense. But you got Big Red and Andy Reid, and you got Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, I think the conversation starts and stops with those two guys and how good they've been in big-time games. You got to give the edge to Kansas City.
I'm going to also give the edge to Kansas City. Andy Reid, obviously on the Mount Rushmore of NFL coaches right now as it currently stands. We talked about Spags. He's the guy that's been the I guess he hasn't been thanked very much.
Yeah, not enough,
he's
honestly.
A lot of credit recently, but the guy has been a stalwart for this group. And then I think about the offensive line room, Andy Heck. He is the guy that makes that run game go. He's the guy that gets that offensive line ready to roll. They have a ton of guys. Matt Nagy's in the building. They have a ton of guys who could be head coaches in the National Football League, but they elect to be together as coaches on Andy Reid's staff. That's why they get this nod from
Eagles have a heck of a staff, though.
They do. They have a really good staff.
At offensive line coach. They have guys.
I'm not partial or anything.
Okay. To recap, defensive line, interior defensive line goes to the Eagles, edge rusher to the Eagles, linebacker to the Chiefs, cornerback to the Eagles, safety to the Chiefs, and the coaching staff to the Chiefs. We'll see how it plays out on Sunday.
We got a ball game.
Oh, yeah, we do.
All right, we're going to do a little mailbag questions you guys asked. We're going to answer right after this.
Stick, Mike.
All right, you guys asked us your mailbag questions. We are here to answer them. We're going to kick it off from Andrew M. 8228. He asks, who is the biggest X factor on the Eagles defense?
Ooh.
Well, I was going to say Jalen Carter until you convinced me that it's Milton.
It's Milton.
It's going to be the Milton.
I mean, can Jalen Carter be considered an X factor?
Yeah, I'm not sure
he is the factor. Like
Merriam-Webster definition of X factor, but I think Milton Williams fits that bill. I think if you're a star, you can't be an X factor.
Correct.
So you got to be like mid-tier. And I think it's Milton Williams.
To me, it's C.J. Gardner-Johnson, just because how he can roam the back end, and he's a guy that just shows up where the ball finds him. Like, he knows how to find the football. And when you look at Patrick Mahomes in his 4 Super Bowl appearances, he does have 5 interceptions, right? So he could be one of those guys that potentially gets one of those overthrows or those tip passes and gets an interception that kind of changes the fortune of the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
I like that. I like that call out. All right, next one from Celestial Rose Luna. They asks, will Saquon Barkley break Timmy Smith's record of 204 yards on Sunday?
You don't want to ask me because my bold prediction was him going under 100 yards.
Yeah, so that's hard no.
I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. The way that Spags' defense plays against the run, the experience that they have in these big games, the ability to adjust on the fly. You know, if they do get gashed in the first 15 or the first half, they're going to go in, they're going to regroup, they're going to come up with a game plan to say, whatever happens, we are not going to let Saquon Barkley win this football game for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I just go into the stat that we read earlier, right? It's been 18 straight games since they've given up a 100-yard rusher, and it wasn't even to a running back. It was Lamar Jackson. And then it's been 18 straight playoff games since 2019 since they've given up a 100-yard rusher in the playoffs. So you talked about a stat. Spags wants to take away what you do the best, right? And that's for the Eagles. It's obviously running the ball with Saquon Barkley. Yeah, 204 yards is very lofty.
I do not see it. But the thing about Saquon Barkley is, uniquely compared to the rest of the NFL, the guy hits home runs.
I was going to say, he could break a couple.
So he could be quiet, 2 runs, and all of a sudden he could be at 200. So obviously within reach when he's had the season he's had. All right, next one comes from Bleach Lover 22. asks, will the refs throw a flag at a critical point in this game? Obviously, the James Bradbury holding, I put quotation marks
It was,
around
by the
that.
letter of the law, it was
Juju
defensive holding.
Smith-Schuster was the deciding factor or the ender of that game 2 years ago. Do we see it happening again?
No
Can
offense,
the NFL afford
no
for it to
offense,
happen
Bleach
again?
Lover 22.
Kyle can't
Every
wait.
moment
Can't
in
wait.
the Super Bowl is a critical moment
That's
in the
true.
game. So
yes, they
every
will, you're
second,
saying.
every penalty, I would say yes, of course. Who is the more disciplined football team, would you say?
It's the Chiefs.
I know it's the Kansas City
I don't think
Chiefs.
it's close.
So when penalties are thrown, when guys are chirping, if somebody gets a little unnecessary roughness, a late hit, look for it to be somebody in green. And remember that I told you this. Every single moment is imperative in the Super Bowl. You never know what moment will be the make or break situation for your football team.
I, though, think that the NFL cannot afford for a big call the same way. They just can't. They're going to have too much blowback. They can't afford for the storyline to keep being the refs. I think if something does go down, I think they either correct it on the fly. They just make it right because they can't. There's too much writing on a ticky-tacky call deciding this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see a late call in the game. It could be if it's to the letter of the law, like the Bradbury one. We were all upset about it, but it was the right call. And to your point earlier about being disciplined, Jalen Carter, I guarantee the Chiefs, Andy Hackins talked to the Chiefs offensive line, and they're going to do little stuff right at the edge of the end of the play to get a reaction out of Jalen Carter. If you're on that defensive line, you're Brandon Graham, you're Milton Williams, you got to talk to the young stud. Hey, man, it's more important than this one moment.
I'll tell you
right?
what,
Do not retaliate.
Creed and Trey are going to look to.
Oh, for sure. They're going to egg him on the whole game.
I'm going to test his gangster. They want to test his gangster. They want to test his discipline. Because at the end of the day, the same game that Jalen Carter's trying to play from a physicality standpoint, it's the same one that 65 and 52 are playing there at the line of scrimmage with Creed and Trey Smith.
Yep.
So who is going to snap first? Who's going to be the one that does something stupid? I'm not going to bet against my guys Creed and Trey, though.
There. All right, next one comes from Bengals Bills fan 2015. Quite the combo.
Bengals Bills fan.
They ask,
nice.
Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift? I assume they mean on Sunday because, I mean, at some point maybe they'll do it, but at the Super Bowl, will it happen? I'm
going to say no, and I'm only saying no because I think the Eagles are going to win. I don't see him proposing in a loss.
That would be why.
Right? Now, if they win, 100% yes, I think it's going to happen.
So?
I think he's going to retire after that, too.
I'm going to say no. And I think it's because if he were to propose, they're such a public couple that they would probably want to do something
like that in private.
Sacred. You know, how much of their life is private?
None of it.
So if they can control, maybe they'll do it on a G5 at 40,000 feet. That's where the proposal will happen. I don't know. No cameras in there. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if they propose, but if they win, Travis Kelce needs to redeem himself from his last year of the speech, the Viva Las Vegas. We got to do something a little bit better than that this year, Travis. All right. We have Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end, likely first-round pick, joining the program right after this. Welcome back to Pushing the Pile. We are joined now by Mackey Award winner, Penn State tight end, Tyler Warren. Tyler, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. There's a lot going on down here in New Orleans, but I'm excited to be here. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got two tight ends, obviously, that a lot of people know in this game. Travis Kelce, Dallas Goedert. We kind of debated earlier, a couple segments ago, which we'd rather have. I said I'd rather have Goedert in Week 8, Kelce in the Super Bowl. Which one, when you're watching their tape, which one do you maybe see more of yourself in, and who do you think's the better one at this point in time?
I mean, it's hard to go against Kelce with you know what he's done, but they're both really good tight ends. Goddard has done a lot of good stuff this year, so it's definitely a great matchup. You know, it'd be fun to watch them go at it.
Which tight end in the NFL do you watch most to pick up tips, learn how to play the position, things of that nature? Which one do you watch the most?
Yeah, I think Kittle's a really good one to watch, just from the point that he's a great receiver, obviously, but he does some really good stuff in the run game too, and you know, playing tight end, being able to do a lot of different stuff is kind of what I really like about playing it. So I think he's a great guy to look at. And over the summer, I started watching some Jeremy Shockey stuff that came along.
We were just talking about.
Yeah, and so I thought he was kind of the way he played and the attitude he played with, I thought was a good thing to look at.
He was way before his time. Like he was ahead of his time. The guy was so unbelievable. He was an electric factory every time he caught the football. Tight ends are like the prom kings now. You know what I mean? You guys get to block, you get to catch the passes, you date superstars, you're big and handsome. What is your favorite part about tight end? Was there ever a time where you wanted to play a different position? I look at you, I could see a guy that rushed the passer. I could see you being a 3 technique. I could see you being a number of things.
Be a quarterback, dude. You threw a touchdown this year.
Was there ever another position that you said, I think I could probably go to the league and play that?
I was recruited as a quarterback most of my high school career, but no, I think tight end's probably the spot for me, and I think I definitely quarterback wasn't my path, so I think playing tight end was the right choice for me.
So this past year at Penn State, you said you watched some tape of Jeremy Shockey last year, and it showed. And when you were in the open field this year, you were a different animal. Didn't have 500 yards as a junior this year, over 1,200 yards, over 100 catches. When did you know that this was going to be a different season for you?
Really going through the season, I wasn't really thinking about it, to be honest with you, kind of the way our offense was, and we had talked about trying to make it more explosive and do stuff like that. So I was really focused week to week, whatever I could do, whether it was catching 10 passes or blocking for 70 snaps in a game is kind of the way I attacked it and the way our tight end room attacked it. And it worked out well, but yeah, it was fun.
You get the ball in the open field. You catch it. What's the first thought going through your mind?
When you got the ball's a program, so obviously protect it. But when you get the ball, you're expected to make a play, make a guy miss, and really score any chance you get. So make the first guy miss, I think, is a big thing for tight ends especially.
Have you heard George Kittle's philosophy on you attack them, you don't go out of bounds? Is that something you ascribe to?
Yeah, I think definitely that's kind of what was harped on by the coaches is you're not running out of bounds, right? You're getting an extra 2 yards maybe if it's that. But yeah, I think that's a good way to play a game. It also sends a message kind of how you're going to play the rest of the game and not stepping out of bounds.
So not many guys get the luxury of playing at a huge time program like you did in college in front of all those fans. I mean, what a fantastic way to go play college football. What has been the most impressive thing? Have you ever been to an NFL game? What's the most impressive NFL game you've ever been to? And are you looking forward to the difference in crowd in the NFL versus college?
Yeah, I haven't actually been in person to an NFL game really since I was probably 10 years old. So, I'm excited about it. I think, playing in Happy Valley is one of the best places to play football, and there's a lot of great, environments in the NFL. So I'm excited to kind of get to be introduced to those and kind of see what they're like.
Yeah. You weren't the only Penn State guy who took a big jump forward this year. Drew Aller, your quarterback, massive breakout junior campaign. What's his ceiling like, and what's it like working with that guy this past year?
Yeah, I think, from just what he has naturally, he's got everything you need to be a great quarterback, especially in the NFL. And then you talk about a great competitor and the way he drives guys around him. And I think when you watch him play, he's a kind of a quiet guy, and then in a game he gets up and starts talking to the guy that just tackled him. I think that energy as a quarterback is somebody that offense wants to play around. So it was awesome to see him kind of grow this year, and I'm excited to see what he does this next year.
So Penn State in the semifinals this year. A lot of people have them as a top-ranked team heading into next season. The arrow obviously pointing up. Why should they come to Penn State and not Michigan or Ohio State, the past 2 national champions?
Yeah, I think Penn State is, when you look at everything included in football, is not really a better place to be. You get a great degree, great football, great atmosphere, great town. Obviously, I might be a little biased, but I think it's, the best program in college football, and it's helped me do so much more things in life besides just football. So it's really been awesome, and I think it's a great place for anybody to go play football there.
Do you think that tight end is asked the most from a cerebral standpoint in terms of you have to know the entire blocking scheme, you have to know all the route concepts, you have to know the adjustments? Do you think it's probably the hardest position outside of quarterback?
Yeah, I think definitely on the offensive side, just kind of like you said, knowing all the stuff, and it's not like you just run routes or just block. You got to be able to do both, and there's a lot of shifts and motions that go through the tight end.
You're talking to skinny guys and fat guys.
Yeah,
we're going to 52, or you and me have the nickel. There's a lot of conversations there.
Yeah, so I think it is, right? I think that's why a lot of times you see quarterbacks that make the transition to tight end, and they do well, because there is a lot of thinking about it, but it's really fun to play, and I'm glad I made that switch.
Yeah, how much has that helped you? You have other tight ends on the roster, obviously, but you uniquely were good at being on the same page with Drew Aller all year long. It just seemed like you guys knew and had the sixth sense of where to be, how to adjust the route to hit that middle of the zone. How much did your background as a quarterback help in that?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped me, especially just kind of understanding offenses and knowing why certain guys are doing certain things, not just knowing your route on the play. I think is really important. But yeah, with Drew, it's easy to look good when he's your quarterback, right? He's a great quarterback and made a lot of great throws. So I was just in the right spot, and he was the one making the tough plays. So that was fun playing with him.
All right, we're gonna do a little rapid fire here for you. A few questions. Just give us your quick thoughts. If you were commissioner for a day, is there a rule that you would add or subtract or change?
I think maybe I'll go back to normal kickoffs just because, it is cool to watch that, opening the game with a kickoff like that. That is exciting.
The running start.
It
just gets you hyped as opposed to just the guys standing oh.
Yeah, so I'll probably go with that.
All right, do you have any pregame rituals?
No, I don't really listen to music. I try and enjoy kind of the surroundings around it. It's not often you get to, walk through the walk and high five all the fans. So I try to enjoy that, and then right before the game, I'll, put my headphones on and get locked in for like 5 minutes right before I go out. But I try to really enjoy, the whole process of it.
Now, would you rather throw a crushing block or catch a first down?
I definitely probably rather block. I think, playing football and serving the guy next to you is kind of what's fun about it. And, when I saw Nick and Katron make a big run and I had a part in that, I took a lot of pride in that. So that's probably my favorite part.
There's nothing like they get the explosive, they hit a home run, and you and your buddies are high-fiving on the way down to the end zone, and they look up at the Jumbotron, and it's you out front making a big block. You and your buddy double-teaming somebody into the next county. There's nothing like that.
Don't get much better than that.
I got a question for you, because I always ask blockers this. Do you think you excel more on the front side of plays in blocking, or are you a backside guy, cutoff guy? Which one do you enjoy more?
We did run a lot of outside zone this year, and we were primarily on the front side of that. So I think, getting the engine moving and trying to create distortion is a fun part of it. But really it's all fun and it's all a tough job. So I think, those are two important blocks, whether you're cutting off the C gap or you're trying to get the engine running on the front side of it. So it's hard to pick really. But
you create the home run on the backside, getting the big cutoff at the second level. But you don't put a dent in it on the front side, then we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And you said you like George Kittle. There ain't many guys who do it like George Kittle on the front side. So I love that about your answer.
Yeah.
What was your favorite play from this past season?
I think it probably was when we were playing Illinois and Katron. He had a kind of touchdown late fourth quarter that kind of sealed the game for us, and just the energy. I think it was a clip where like 3 or 4 guys kicked the door in with him. So you're not really allowed to celebrate as a team, but they kind of got away with it. But I think that was kind of just awesome. It was a sort of a whiteout. It was whiteout energy game they talked about, but that was a lot of fun.
What was your very first sports memory that really sticks with you?
Well, my first football memory was flag football my first time, and I remember after the game, I thought about how fun it was, but really we were getting beat pretty bad. I just remember chasing everybody and trying to pull their flag, and I thought it was so much fun. But we were getting our butts kicked. But that's kind of my first memory of football, and I remember that's kind of when I decided that might be what I want to do.
Happy Valley. Why are they so happy?
I don't know. It's just
there was a no.
I actually don't know the story behind it.
Right? It was something.
Yeah, I think it is.
No,
bootleggers or something.
You know what? Forget I asked the Happy Valley.
You can just take a trip down there and go through the town, and you'll probably leave with a smile on your face.
There you go.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Was it a pass interference on Notre Dame?
On which one?
On Notre Dame. Was it a pass interference?
On what play?
You know the one.
What, it was me?
Yeah.
I mean, the refs called it, so that's...
Were you catching it?
Shut up, Mike.
Refs called it. Can't argue with them. Yeah.
I went to Notre Dame. Okay, top 5 tight ends in the NFL right now.
That's tough. I'll put Kittle and Kelsey at 1A, 1B.
Fair.
It's hard to make a decision there. I'll go Pat Freiermuth at 3, Brenton Strange at 4, and then we have Theo Johnson at the 5 spot.
Ooh, Theo Johnson, he's got to go with the Penn State.
Yeah, Brock Bowers is gritting his teeth.
I had to give my guys.
Brock Bowers is pissed.
I had to give my guys a shot. I played with all of them.
Yes,
so,
that's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're a good teammate.
All right, we got a little sound bite. Apparently, there is a song that was written about you. I'm not sure if you're aware of this.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody on the field jump higher. Blow it up, here real high flyer. Okay, Penn State on fire. Big play by triple threat Tyler.
Oh, man.
It's been a little bit of a tradition past few years at Penn State. Guys start getting songs, but yeah, I didn't that wasn't me.
It wasn't like the 7th floor crew where you guys were.
It wasn't like Greg Olsen and the boys.
No, that wasn't me.
A little different energy from that one. All right, tell us about Planet Fitness and what you're doing here with them.
Yeah, so what they're really all about, right, is whether you're there for 20 years and you're coming in for your 1,000th lift, or it's your first day coming in the gym. There's a spot for everybody, and it's a welcoming environment, and they're not hard to find. I got thousands of locations all over the country, so whether it was one of us going in just to get an off-day lift or somebody that goes to Planet Fitness 5 days a week, there's stuff in there for everybody, and it's really just about the community at the end of the day.
Tyler, you're the man. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you off the board Thursday, April 24th in the first rounds. Coming up after this, we have Super Bowl previews for the next 5 years. Me and Kyle are going to guess. Crystal ball. We're going to tell you who's going to be in them right after this. All right, we're going to play a little Nostradamus here to end this episode of Pushing the Pile. We're going to look in the crystal ball. We're going to go to the next 5 Super Bowls and see who exactly is going to be in them. And we can maybe even make some predictions. So 2025 is going to be in Santa Clara. 2026 is in Inglewood. 2027 is in Atlanta. CBS product. Put it on your schedules.
I'll be there.
Company man. 2028, we don't know where it's going to be. 2029, same. So who you got for next year, Kyle? Who's going to be here when we're in Santa Clara?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Philadelphia Eagle, Kansas City Chief rematch.
It might
again.
be, dude. They're stacked.
I mean, they're an all-star team in Philadelphia. They really are. And they're
so
a young group. They've drafted well. Credit to Howie Roseman. But let's also give credit to Brett Veach for finding a way to always reload, retool. And they got Patrick Mahomes still. Andy Reid ain't going anywhere. I suspect Travis Kelce will be back again. I don't have any inside information. So, 2025, Santa Clara, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs win again.
God, I might quit. If that happens, it's like I'm covering the sport that's just like a solved game. I might just be like, I'll try my hand at something else. I'll start doing golf analysis.
So who do you
instead.
think?
I have the Green Bay Packers. No bias whatsoever on this one, but the Green Bay Packers, there's so much young talent. Defensive resurgence. I think the arrow's only pointed upward. They have a lot of cap space, over $40 million of cap space, so they can add more to even what they did this past offseason. They were great at identifying talent. Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, those guys were superstars for them. So I think the Packers make it there.
Josh Jacobs, some comments this week.
He wants a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah,
if they get a number 1 wide receiver,
that receiver room's like, hey, WTF, Josh?
Yeah, dude,
what's up with that?
Dontavion Wicks did not take kindly to it.
Quote
Dontavion, maybe hold on to the footballs.
Yo, okay.
I dropped special. All right, and then I have them face the Baltimore Ravens because I think they were on the doorstep this year. Derrick Henry ain't going anywhere, and he's not aging. That guy with how he takes care of his body, $500,000 a year on that thing. I think they come back, and I think they make it. I don't think they win it because I think the Packers win it, but that's my Super Bowl next year.
There's been so many happenings in the playoffs, and I just keep forgetting that Mark Andrews, who has been an absolute stalwart for this offense, I feel terrible for him. He's a good guy. He's a great player, but that drop, oh, boy, the Ravens. I mean, I know Ravens fans would love to get to the Super Bowl here. 2026.
Inglewood.
We're going back to Cali. Again, Santa Clara, and then Inglewood. I got the Chicago Bears. The USC Trojan, Caleb Williams.
Year 3.
Okay. Second year of the Ben Johnson regime.
Okay.
I talked to Roma Dunze earlier. I'm going to get his jersey. He's an absolute stud and a sweetheart. Nice guy. They got a lot of talent there. They're going to draft well. They're going to do well to bolster that offensive line, help that offense become explosive, first half and second half. I know the second half numbers were great. But they're going to start out well in 2026, and they're going to end up going to the Super Bowl. And they're going to play Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who are finally going to get over the hump that year and get to the Super Bowl, and then they're going to lose to the Chicago Bears.
Okay, I have a similar AFC pick. Cincinnati Bengals. I just think they'll get back there. That's when 2026, it'll take them that long to actually finally put a good offensive line around Joe Burrow. But then once they do, they will be a pretty darn near unstoppable offense. And I have them facing the Washington Commanders because if you saw the Commanders in the NFC Championship game, one, they're close, but two, they need a lot still on this roster. Jaden Daniels only can get you so far. You need talent to overcome that hump in the NFC right now because there's far, far better rosters than them. But 2 years from now, with the decisions they made this offseason, I think they will be heading arrow up. And I think they take it, actually.
In 2026.
2026.
In
Commanders
Inglewood.
are your Super Bowl champions.
You know what?
2027 Atlanta.
You said Bengals and Washington?
Yeah.
I had them in 2027 in Atlanta.
I'm just here.
Bengals and Atlanta. Or Bengals and Washington. I mean, look, Joe Burrow, in my opinion, should have been in the MVP conversation this year. It was criminal the way that team performed defensively. The entire team let their guy Joe Burrow down. On the contrary, Jaden Daniels came in as a rookie, played incredibly, and the team played above their standard. They were awesome. Dan Quinn, the culture, the defense, Luvu, Wagner, these guys were great. They're going to find a way to retool defensively because Wagner can't play forever. You can't get that production forever. But Jaden Daniels is not going everywhere. I think they get better on the offensive line. They had a good offensive line this year, not great. They get better. I think it's going to be the Bengals and the Commanders, two teams that needed to improve a little bit to get over the hump, and I think they do in the next 2 years. Atlanta, that's what it's going to be.
All right, my Atlanta is the Minnesota Vikings against the Houston Texans. Year 4 of J.J. McCarthy, year 3 of him as a starter. Houston Texans, it's year 5 of C.J. Stroud. I think that's when C.J. really hones in because he's got so much talent. The guy is just unbelievably gifted. I think that's where he really, the minutia of the game, starts to slow down for him. Year 5 of C.J. Stroud. And on that rookie deal, that's when you can kind of push that cap back and make that year really cheap for your team. That's when you're signing that extension. You can kind of underlay it first, all that signing bonus, and then back end it. Houston Texans, Minnesota Vikings, 2027. All right, 2028, 2029, who we got? We're really looking deep in the crystal ball.
I got the Chicago Bears in 2028 playing against the Houston Texans.
I had the Bears against the Jags.
Really?
Oh, we're on the same page. I just had to throw you a bone.
You just said something nice about the Bears.
I had to throw you a bone. Ben Johnson
Hey, Mom, write it down. Mike said something nice about the Bears.
Ben Johnson, I mean, he will turn it around.
This is big of you.
He will turn it around. I hated the hire because he will turn it around. He's the first Bears coaching hire that I'm actually like, this guy gets it. You hear him talk.
You're a little afraid of him.
I'm not afraid of no man.
He scares you.
No man scares me. But I am afraid of the rest of the NFC North because it's just stacked conference. You could do this list and it could just be NFC North teams on the NFC side. That's how 100%. Good. And that's how set up they are for long-term success.
But we didn't name the Lions because they've been poached.
Because they have. I do think the arrow, now again, they have so much young talent. The arrow's still pointed up, but it's difficult. They not only lost him, they lost Henry Engstrand. They obviously went elsewhere for their offensive coordinator position, but, man, I just have a difficult time being able to replace Ben Johnson. So I had Bears, Jags, because I think Liam Cohen will get the most out of Trevor Lawrence, and that's what it's going to take for them to kind of clean this house in Jacksonville of all those bad contracts they have and start getting some better ones on the book. All right, 2029.
I saw Jackson Dart hit a golf ball on Instagram.
Okay. They said 203 mile per hour ball speed, and it only went 336.
That's like Rory.
That's like 15 miles per hour faster than Rory. That is elite long drive.
Jackson
speed.
Dart, wherever he gets drafted, 2029, he's going to play in the Super Bowl. And I can't tell you who they're going to play against because I don't know what conference Jackson Dart's going to be in.
So you're literally just saying Jackson Dart. You're buying into
based on his top golf swing.
One Top Golf. I actually went to that Top Golf that week. Pretty sweet down there in Mobile, Alabama. Mine, Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young,
there we go,
at QB, and Eric Eager, VP of Analytics there. Going to, by then, he'll actually have David Tepper's ear and have turned things around enough that Bryce gets his ring. And he's going up against, you're going to love this, Tennessee Titans. Picking number 1 overall right now. They're going to go Cam Ward. Cam Ward's going to turn the franchise around. 2029, Carolina Panthers versus the Tennessee Titans. All right, recap your 5 here.
First, I started with Chiefs. I had Chiefs and Eagles in next year's Super Bowl. It's going to be a rematch. And then 2026, Chicago and Buffalo. Then I've got Washington and Cincinnati. And then we got Chicago making their way back to the Super Bowl against Houston. And then in 2029, I just have Jackson Dart.
I want that clipped, and I want that on CBS Sports socials because 2029 just being Jackson Dart is fantastic.
It's your year, Jackson.
All right, I had Packers-Ravens next year. Commanders-Bengals. Vikings-Texans, Bears-Jags, and then Panthers-tight ones. Well, we'll hopefully
no
be
pressure, Jackson,
pushing the pile as we do. And we'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, pushing another pile. Until then, keep pushing the pile.
Peace.